Hello, this is Mrs. Ashworth, and I am doing a little database tour. Let's start on the Lynbrook Library web page, and to get to that on the Lynbrook High School website, you go to academics/library, or you simply go to the academics tab and click on library from there. You can also find it in the student portal. So now that I'm here, I see a section that is called LHS Research Resources, where I can find a tile grid with all of our databases. And I can click on any of these from school, and when I click on them, they'll open up and I can access the database from here. From home, I'll have to get the LHS Digital Resources Google Doc from this section that is titled How to Access Databases from School and Home. When I click on the document and open it up, I have access to all of the usernames and passwords on the right-hand side of the page. If I scroll down, you can see the databases here. And then down below on the very bottom, I have a database description section. Please let me know if you can't access things because I need to update this document. Notice that it was last updated in February of 2023. So back to the tile grid, I'm going to open up one of these databases. Let's open up Gale Opposing Viewpoints in Context. And I have the same kind of search field that I would have in a Google search, but I also have issues of interest below as well as a place to browse other issues. But say I have an issue in mind, so I'm going to do a search for it. Now let's do a search for dengue fever. Notice up here I have the number of items in the search that came up when I just searched in dengue fever in the search field. Over on the right hand side I have the option to limit or filter my results. So when I talk about limiters, I am filtering my results. Notice that I can limit by full text documents, and thankfully this box is already checked. If you go into a database and this box is not checked, make sure that you check that. I think for most of them it's checked by default, but please make sure that you check that. Otherwise you'll be sad when you open up a document to find just an abstract rather than the entire article. So notice I can filter by publication date and by subjects and all of this jazz over here on the side. But what I am going to do, instead of going through this search, I'm actually going to go up and go to Advanced Search. All databases will have an Advanced Search option. In Gale, it looks like this. So I have my terms that I can put in here, and I have some Boolean operators that will allow me to change things up a bit to narrow and broaden my search. So I want to narrow my search and just search for dengue fever. I also want to search for a pandemic because I know that there's some news that is worried about that. And then I also want to, oh, and it put it in quotes for me. I don't know why that happened, but that's okay. Let's take it out of quotes because it's one word. I would really only want to put that in quotes if it were 2 words. I think dengue fever is going to come up with good results without my having to put it in quotes. Finally, I'm going to change this last field to a not field because I don't want to search for Africa. So any dengue fever that we can find in other parts of the world other than Africa. And notice over here on the right hand side I have the option to change a keyword search to a different type of search. So say for example if I'm looking for a person, I could look for the author or person about or person by or about. And all of this other stuff too. It's very cool. All right, but because all of these are keywords, this is what I'm going to do here. If you have different search terms that are related, so you could say dengue fever and another synonym for dengue fever, you might want to put that here. But you can also add a row. Notice that I have the option here to add a row, which is really nice. Okay, so now I'm going to do my search. And I have a lot fewer results, which is great. I'm happy with that. So let's just use this, this top set of magazines for our example. I have dengue fever, a man-made disease, as well as green shoots immunology. If you look at both of them, just take a second to look at both of them. Which one would you choose? All right. I think that you would choose this one because of the date. You see, it's 2020 versus 1998. Now, do you know what The Economist is? That's where this news is from. What you would do at this point in time, if you're going to be a really good researcher, is you're going to check to make sure that this source is a good source. What you can do at this point in time is open up a new tab and type in The Economist, and then type Wikipedia next to it, and then look it up on Wikipedia to make sure that it's an ideal source. Let's just pretend it is. So now I'm going to click on Green Shoots Immunology for that later date, or the more recent date. And now let's talk about what I see here in this database. I see some options. I see an option to download, to print, to email it to myself, or to send to Google Drive, which is really nice. I also see up at the top that I have some options over here. I have the option to cite it, to send it to, download, print, some of those same options. I also have the option to get a link or to highlight, add highlights and notes. Now, I'm really only interested in reading this as it is right now, just to check to make sure that it's good for my research. So I check and make sure that it's good for my research, and then I'm like, oh, you know what, I'm going to cite this. Oh, check it out. Down at the bottom, I have the source citation here. In other databases, you might have to click the Cite button to get to the citation. And it's not always going to be located at the top. Sometimes it'll be located on the right-hand side. Sometimes it'll be located on the left-hand side. No matter what, your database will have a citation option. So I'm glad that mine is right here down on the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is copy and paste this citation into my Working Works Cited. I also want to make sure that the link works. So here's the link starting at the word link, and I'm going to go all the way over here to the end of this little string of data, and I'm going to copy and paste it into a new tab to check to make sure that the link actually functions. If it functions, it did, I'm happy. Same. And now I am going to add this to my research. I'm going to quote it in my research, whatever. One thing that I do want to point out also is that in a database, you'll see a section that gives you the option to search more like this. So notice that we have an article that's called 7 Vaccine Makers Boosters Raise Immune Response in the UK Study. This was something from the Globe and Mail in 2021. Here's another article from 2021 and another one too. And I can also click View All Related Articles, as well as I have a section down here that's called Related Subjects. Maybe I want to do a search in one of these areas to find other good articles on my topic. Okay, so that's really the basics for a database search. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out to your friendly neighborhood librarian.